Hi, I'm Andy with Capital Paving. I'm part of the Joint Health and Safety Committee, and I'm also the lead hand on the concrete crew. I'm here today to do a walk around and a inspection on the skid steer here. Okay, so first what I do is I write down like the vehicle ID and the date and everything. And then I'll go around and I'll actually check off all the stuff on the lists here and do a visual inspection of the tires, the hoses, oil, the hydraulic level, which is on the other side there, and then we'll get inside the machine and make sure all the controls work properly. And then we'll fill out the hour meter reading when we get inside the cab after we do the once over inspection on the outside. So here you're going to want to check and make sure that all your couplers are good. For the most part, you just want to make sure none of them are cracked or broken. I like to start at the front of the machine and just visually inspect the tires and stuff as you're going, because that is on your list to do. So that way you're working around the machine and you don't miss anything. So you check all the treads, make sure that all the bolts are in place, nothing's broken or missing. You'll also check any wear and tear on any of the hydraulics or the arms. Make sure none of the bolts are broken, anything's missing. A lot of the machines will have your grease points and stuff on them and how many hours you need to do that for your maintenance schedule. And then back here, this is where the actual engine compartment is on majority of the skid steers. So back here, when you go into here, you're gonna wanna look, do like a visual inspection of all the hoses and stuff. Make sure you don't see any cracking or fraying in any of the hoses. Then you're gonna wanna check your oil. So they'll all have the dipstick here for the engine oil. So wipe it off and then you can check. And this one's good. It's within the level of cold because it hasn't been started yet. A lot of the times too, you'll want to check your battery terminals. Make sure that they're still connected properly, they're not loose. When you come around, this machine in particular has the hydraulic oil over on this side of the machine. So you want to check your level of hydraulic oil and make sure it's within range. You never want to have your oil too full, because as the machine gets hot, the oil does expand. So you want it to have it in the level that it's supposed to be at in the owner's manual, which I'll show you when I go around to the front of the machine. Good. The chunks missing out of the treads. Now on the front of the machine, another thing you're going to want to look at are your locking pins for your attachments for the front and the main cylinders. Make sure nothing's broken, nothing's frayed on the hoses, that the latch pins are properly bolted on, none of the springs are missing for them. And then now we can climb inside the machine and we can check the lights and then all the controls. So you're always going to want to use a 3-point contact. They got handles on the fronts of the machines, so you can always hold on as you're climbing in and out. Now in majority of the skid steers, the owner's manual should be right behind the seat. The operator's manual, sorry. And it's usually in a pouch. So if you're not very familiar with the machine, this is the best place to start before you even do a walk around, because the owner's manual has everything in it that you need to know about the proper use and maintenance of the machine. So once you've familiarized yourself with the controls and the actual machine itself, you're going to go ahead and turn the machine on. So as you function through here, you'll be able to see everything on this screen. Not only your hours, but the RPMs that the machine's running at, the battery voltage. If there's any kind of issues with the machine, a lot of the times it'll come up with an error code on here. And in that case, you shut down the machine, notify your foreman, and let them get a hold of the mechanics and see whether the machine is safe with that error code or not to use. We can double check the leaks again now that the machine's running. When we walk out to check the lights and stuff, we can check that and make sure that's all working. Windows and mirrors and couplers are all good. All the gauges, as we just went through, were all operational, so that was all good. A lot of the skid steers will have your basic controls for the 2 joysticks. If they don't, that'll all be in the owner's manual as well. So we're gonna test the horn, this trigger here. So the horn's working. It does have the fire extinguisher mounted on the insides, and it's always good to double check that it's within range. Some of the stuff on the lists for the skid steer may not apply. Like, you're not gonna really be able to do a brake test on the skid steer because there's not an actual brake pedal or anything for you to brake with, so you could just write non-applicable. Housecaping is in pretty good shape. There's not a whole bunch of garbage or anything inside, which is a big must because garbage can get down into the floor, and if it gets behind the pedals and stuff, that'll be very dangerous for you in your operation. So now all we got to do is check the reverse alarm. So with the machine stationary, you're gonna have to put your seatbelt on, which you should always do before you operate the machine. And then we'll disengage the parking brake. Lift the arms up a little bit. So now we can hear that the reverse alarm is working, so that can check off on your list. So now I'm gonna unbuckle myself because I'm gonna get back out. Throw the beacon light on and throw on the exterior lights so that now we can do a visual check. So we know the beacon's working, lights are working. All the lights in the back of the machine are working as well. So that's the last thing that we needed to check off on our list. Now that we've completed our whole list, we know that the machine is safe and ready to go.